From a prologue that was abruptly truncated, we saw a man struggling to mew out a bloodstained note as his last chance to cry for help. We will be introduced into a world with grainy and off-kilter visuals, with a distinct electronic synthesizer score. Directors Joe DeBoer and McConaghy wanted to transpose us, the audience, into the 1980s, where in a quaint suburban post office, ordinary staff might not be able to deal with extraordinary matters. Date mail or date letter mail referred to those mails that could not be delivered to the addressee due to a variety of reasons, such as incomplete address, and would be generally returned to the sender. In this day and age, when snail mail had slowly been purged in favor of more electronic replacements, sending a physical mail is certainly a thing of the past for many people. The misnomers date mail also gave an ominous undertone, which tied up nicely to the plot of this movie. Poster office workers Anna, Bess, and Jasper had to deal with these date mails, with attempts to return to the senders whenever possible. Jasper, who was homeless and had been staying in a YMCA-type lodging, was an enigma at work, yet he proved to be invaluable with his expertise to deal with these date mails. He was a part of a clandestine of people working incognito from general public who had access to information very much like a hacker group like Anonymous. When the poster team got a hand on the scary bloodstained letter, it piqued the interest of the likes of Anne and especially Jasper, who in spite of his chilled facade, felt like it was his mission to resolve these mysteries. Jasper would make a friend called Trent, a Caucasian man who claimed that he had to stay in the same lodging due to failed business venture, which did not draw too much suspicion from Jasper himself. Of course, the appearance of this suspicious man Trent would unwind the chain of crazy events that made Date Mail a gripping thriller to sit through. At the height of the synthesizer fad, it was interesting to use as concept of a horror thriller with a budding synth recreator that would create a circuit board to rival some of the tip-top innovators in the field from America or even Japan. Trent was perhaps the entrepreneur he had told Jasper that he was, and decided to put faith in this synth innovator by the name of Josh, who would be the victim that painstakingly leper crawled to send out his letter for help, foretelling us audience that his fate would be a tumultuous one. And during the prologue, it was not clear who was the assailant, but by this juncture, it was quite apparent who is the big evil in the movie. The non-linear storytelling actually worked immaculately to tie the prologue to the first act before telling Jasper's fate by the midpoint of the movie, and then the flashback to our unfortunate victim and his assailant before Jasper's associates collaborated to hunt down the bad guy to serve justice. Seasoned TV actor John Fleck played Trent, who was like Dexter, but he was no serial killer, to be honest. The whole cooperation between Trent and the victim Josh, played by Sterling Macer Jr., reminded me of the early Silicon Valley days, like what we have seen in Halt and Catch Fire, and even recently in Black Mirror Season 7, episode titled USS Callister Into Infinity. The part when Trent had caught up with the postal service and when Jasper was dealing with the bloodstained letter was too incredulous and coincidental, but I really dug how everything came into place for Trent. The connection Jasper had with his hacker group was something I found enthralling as well. They were working in such secrecy and had to follow tight protocols and stringent regulations, yet when one of them went down, even someone you have never met in person before, you just need to render help even when it was against protocol. From what I have read from reviews online, audience was not buying the grainy 1980s visual and felt that it was too self-indulgent and the full synth score was a bit passé. I suppose people might find the whole captive storyline to be a lull, and if you could not bite onto the Jasper part of the story, you might not be able to get through the whole plot. Even though I agree with some criticism, I still find Date Mail was something refreshing for me from director DeBoer and McConaghy, who previously had made a movie called Bab, which was another period drama with a mystery. I enjoyed the performances of the relatively unknown cast, especially Thomas Boykin as Jasper and Fleck as Trent, but the supporting characters were all decent as well. Date Mail, which featured in some film festivals last year and was being streamed on Shudder in 2025, is certainly a nifty psychological thriller with a twist and was never going to measure up with your Silence of the Lamb. I like it enough to give it a rating of 7.5 out of 10. Thank you for the continuous support of this channel. Please click a like to this video if you can, and subscribe to the channel if you have not. Chat Archibald's It's Feats was another under the radar indie horror feature that worth a watch, and I had given my 2 cents before this review, so go check it out. I was from the era of sending a lot of physical letters, be it subscription forms, radio song requests, or even confession to a crush. I always remember to put enough postage and return my return address, which in this case, I guess Josh did not have the time to do, nor he really knew where his whereabouts.